Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Cast it up, Micah and Derrick. We'll get ready for something you will have never wanted to know. You sadly saw it coming, but I guess you should know. Devoid Wrestling Podcast.
Hi, everybody. It's definitely been a minute since we've wrestled with the wrestling podcast, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute, absolutely.
Yeah. So we did say that we were going to do WrestleMania, so let's.
No, James and I already did WrestleMania, so we don't need to. This episode is not about WrestleMania. This I need to introduce the guest for this episode. Actually, everyone, I'd like to welcome our very special guest from the Pink World Order, the PWO cast. It's James. How's it going, James?
How we doing?
Doing all right.
Derrick, we didn't talk about this, man.
So look, Micah.
Can we restart? We didn't talk about this.
I looked at the data. I get clicks. The PWO gets clicks. And
no, really, what?
I got some official documents in the mail today, Micah. You can see it says mail on it. I think you need to see this. You can't see it, but this was addressed to Derrick of the Pink World Order. And it looks pretty binding. It says we have 51% of specifically Devoid shares.
Yeah, it looks legit.
Yeah. So thank you for coming, Micah, but you will not be needed this episode.
No.
Toodles.
So anyway, welcome to the Devoid Wrestling Podcast. James, I'm happy to have you here. How's it going?
Oh, so excited to be here. I am ready for the topic we're about to cover because I have been preparing this for quite some time.
Yes. 1 second, I want everyone to see the stupid look on Micah's face right now.
What?
Anyways.
All right,
So, a while back, I think it was for this channel, we were going to do a video, a tier list ranking all of the members of the nWo.
Yes.
And it did not work. Audio got fucked up. So we're doing it again. So there's a fuck ton of members. So we're going to get through this as quick as we can. First, I want to go through the tiers, starting from the bottom up. The very lowest tier isn't actually really a tier. It's more of just, we don't know who this is. No clue. Last time we did this, I tried to have a reference sheet. I'm going in blind today. Got no idea who some of these people are. I know some people are from a TV show or something, whatever. This one is the freaking awful tier. Now that tier is, of course, for the really, really bad people and members of the nWo. Maybe people who weren't in it for a long time, or people who are just bad wrestlers who are also in the nWo. There's pretty bad, which is, not great, but there's the middle, there's pretty all right, and then there is absolutely the best. So you said you've been racking your brain around this, thinking about this?
Oh, yes, sir. I am ready to rank these guys. I am just so ecstatic we get the opportunity to be able to do this again, because I remember when we did it the first time, and I remember how heartbreaking it was to hear that the audio had gone through that terrible bus crash.
Anyways, let's get right on to this, right? The first person, I believe this is Bryan Adams.
That would seem right.
Yes. Do you remember anything about Bryan Adams as a wrestler? He was Crush, right?
Yes, he was. He was Crush.
So he was in a Chronic, right?
Yes. Yes, he was.
So where does that put him? Because
Oh
like,
my
because
god.
like logistically, Chronic was pretty bad, but I
Not-
like Chronic.
So
That's
he was the Kiss Demon for the first 2 appearances.
Jesus Christ. So
So
what do you think
that's how
about
disorganized WCW is.
Kiss Demon, weed loving nWo apparently in Chronic member?
Yeah, I mean, after reading his resume, I would have to consider him for either of the bottom 3 tiers.
Yeah, I think Pretty Bad is a good place for him at the beginning. Up next, known in WWE as the Big Boss Man, he was known in WCW as Big Bubba Rogers. What do you think about the Boss Man?
What do I think about the Boss Man? The Boss Man, at least in the nWo, he didn't do all that much.
No, he really didn't. I mean, that's what you could say about most of these people, but he really did not do anything, did he?
It's just funny to think that they kind of made the nWo just so that the former WWF guys would be guaranteed to have a way of like working just alcohol into their character.
Yeah, 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 that's very true. The only thing I actually know that Big Boss Man did was the time he was hung by the Undertaker at WrestleMania after a Hell in a Cell match. So what do you say? Freaking awful?
I would say probably pretty bad.
Pretty bad?
I don't think he was freaking awful.
No. There are some of these people who are freaking awful.
We will find them for sure.
Yes. Up next, someone we wish to have on the podcast someday, Eazy-E Eric Bischoff.
Easy-E.
I mean, there doesn't need to be a conversation about where he's placing, but like, can we just talk about Eric Bischoff for a moment?
Let's just talk about him. So, I mean, the man that sort of orchestrated this whole invasion angle and did it successfully. What? He executed the invasion angle successfully. What he did after that, once he got most of the guys, was pretty
that's
questionable. True. But the way he brought in Hall and Nash and paired him with Hogan, like that took some creativity.
That's true.
You gotta hand it to him for starting the war, but once the war happened, went off the rails.
I also feel like you have to mention his amazing time as a general manager on Raw from 2002 to 2005.
He had some good moments with Vince.
Yeah, him and Coach even were great. Like when they were around each other. All right.
No one believes anything.
So the next person. Now we are talking about this in terms of nWo members. So it does need to be stated that Booker T was a part of the WWE version of the nWo in 2002, which, as we all know, if we could put that version of the nWo as an idea into the tier list, it would be in freaking awful.
Low key, I think that's where Booker goes just by association. Either pretty bad.
Yeah, because we have talked about like Big Bubba Rogers outside of nWo, and we talked about Bischoff, and we talked about Crush, so we should probably do it the same for Booker.
Yeah, because of all he's done outside.
Yes, so I think the middle is a good place for Booker.
Yeah,
very middle of the road. He was in it. He was there. He was good, but not good as part of the nWo. Yeah. And another person in a very similar sense is the next person, who is Bret the Hitman Hart. God, I think I can forgive almost everything WCW has done, except for what they did to Bret Hart.
Yeah, I mean, they literally just brought him in to, bow to Hogan.
Yeah. And like it wasn't worth the way he left WWE.
No.
No. But we do have to talk about him as part of the nWo, which still wasn't, his best time in WCW. But this was nWo 2000. He was one of the leaders. And he's Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm pretty sure he won a world title while he was the leader, right?
Let me see. Yeah, world heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So I think we could put him in at least pretty all right.
Yeah, he's pretty all right.
Yeah.
A title.
It was it was also around the time period that Goldberg concussed him and left him retired. All right. Buff Bagwell.
So many words.
He's got the stuff. The Judy Bagwell at a forklift match is not as bad as people make it seem.
I forgot Judy Bagwell was involved.
It was actually a pretty interesting match, and I think a lot of that had to do with how good Chris Kanyon was. But Buff played a surprisingly good babyface. But this is heel Buff Bagwell, so should I just put him here now?
Yeah. I will not debate you on that.
It's just so bad. Never good.
Just no redeeming qualities.
He was so bad that he stopped Vince McMahon's plans just because he was so bad.
Vince wanted to push him, and Vince was just like, no.
This is one of the guys that you don't know much about, but I love, and that's Masahiro Chono.
Oh, I remember us talking about this guy.
This dude is the shit. He is so freaking cool. He was part of nWo Japan, which a couple of these people you'll see were also part of nWo Japan. He's just the coolest wrestler. He is everything like a young person wants when they say, okay, go look cool. They'll come out looking like Masahiro Chono. Slicked back hair, leather jackets, sunglasses. I'm putting him in pretty all right because even though he is super cool and one of the best, not memorable really in the nWo.
Yeah, I would say it's a good spot for him because he was a great member, but not in WCW.
Right. I don't know who this guy is. This is one of those schmucks, right?
So I love how we created a tier for the people we just don't even know.
We really created a tier just for this guy and his friend. Where is his friend? Let's put his friend there now. I was hoping we would be able to move back towards the top of the tier list. But up next is David Flair.
Oh, Lord.
David Flair is just terrible. I have been watching a lot of videos about people who are sort of in a similar vein to David Flair in WCW. I watched a video about Garrett Bischoff in TNA and Wes Briscoe, who is the son of Gerald Briscoe. All three of these guys are terrible and got pushed simply because of their last name. I wish I made a lower list for David Flair. Up next, feel really bad. This is Dennis Rodman. That's his name. This is Dennis Rodman, the basketball guy.
Yes.
Yes.
I know Dennis Rodman pretty well as a basketball player.
Yes. And he was also in the nWo.
Yes, he was.
In that brief time period where he wrestled in WCW.
So this is what I think. Because of his basketball career, dude's a Hall of Famer in basketball. He's a really good player. That keeps him out of freaking off.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, he's memorable as part of the nWo. A lot of people remember Dennis Rodman in WCW.
Yeah. A lot of people remember the tag match between, him and Hogan. I think Karl Malone was the other one.
Maybe.
Karl Malone and Sting, I think. Yeah.
Probably.
That sounds right.
So I think he's right in the middle with Booker, honestly.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Stick him in there. Did Ted DiBiase have a different name, or was he just Ted DiBiase?
Let me see.
Man.
It says DiBiase joined and was the spokesperson for them until Bischoff.
Yeah, he was the pre-Bischoff.
Yes.
I don't think a single person can remember that off the top of their head.
he was.
I mean, he's Ted DiBiase, so he's not bad. So I think the middle, maybe
Yeah.
below Dennis Rodman.
Trillionaire Ted.
Yeah, Trillionaire Ted. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that Beefcake?
Yep, that is
Yeah. I mean,
100% is.
his character at some point just became Hogan's friend.
I see him now. I'm looking up his image, and the caption for the image is a list of the 10 worst nWo members ever.
Yeah, so we could just
His name was not Beefcake. He was the disciple.
oh my god, he was. Jesus Christ. Disco is the next person on the list.
Yeah.
We didn't get to tell the story because of audio. You know the story of Disco in the nWo.
Yeah. So the story of Disco goes, Disco would just kind of hang out in the back, like with the boys, and he got kind of close with Kev and Scott, and so they'd be drinking, and Scott would just be sitting there and see, Scott likes to go to the ring because that's where he has control of his life, and Kev likes to hang in the back. So Scott would be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the ring. I want someone to come with me," and Kev would want to stay. And so Scott would just turn to Disco Inferno and go, "You want to come out?" And Disco Inferno, yeah. So Disco Inferno would just go out and watch Scott Hall's matches.
So Disco Inferno as a wrestler, unremarkable.
Yeah.
He was there. He was like the mid card of the cruiserweight division, which is like a low place to be sitting. He was like the warm-up match to like Ray versus Chavo.
I think Pretty Bad is a good tier for
Yeah.
Disco. He's not awful, but definitely isn't middle. That's for sure.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put both of the Harris brothers in freaking awful right now because they're both Nazis and they both suck. Anyway, someone who is a good person, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, affectionately known nowadays as Cody's dad. Michael will get a kick out of that one.
Who knows if Cody's gonna end up being a bigger name in history than Dusty?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say how in 20 years Cody's role in AEW will be seen in history. But we're not talking about Cody. We're talking about Dusty. The real American Dream. I don't remember anything about his time in the nWo, but I do know is that Dusty is a legend. You do?
Yes. So I have a Scott Hall story about this. So
amazing.
So there was a storyline at one point. So Dusty came into the nWo, I think, because he started to have self-confidence issues. So Dusty was like getting older, and he would always be like doubting himself, like in the back. And Scott Hall would go up to Dusty and be like, "Dude, you still got this, man. You were only doing that stuff like 10 years ago." And Dusty's like, "Well, I'm older now. I don't think I can hang with you guys." So Scott Hall and a couple of the other guys really pushed Dusty to sort of try out doing something in the ring. And so he finally, caved. And they did an angle where Dusty came out and did his finisher and then ripped his shirt open with nWo, and the crowd went crazy.
Sick.
And Scott's there with him like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Dusty's great. Dusty's incredible.
It was just a redemption story for him. I'd put him in the middle.
In the middle, I was gonna put him in pretty all right. Maybe
I don't
even
know if he did enough to do pretty all right. I don't remember Dusty because we're talking.
It's true that it's a similar situation to Booker.
Yes,
I think I'll put him in the top of the middle.
Yeah,
he might move up to the bottom of pretty all right later, but for now we'll keep him there. Up next, you know him from the movie Knucklehead and nowhere else. It's the Giant, also known to most people as the Big Show. The Giant was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Both in size and like in WCW, he was huge. He was a big name in WCW.
Now, my only question when it comes to the Giant is like, I don't think you can put him in the top tier, but he's definitely the first guy I think of when I think of anyone outside of the top tier guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. When I think of like top WCW stuff in that time period in general, like my thoughts are, oh yeah, the nWo and the Giant.
Yeah.
So I think just I'm gonna put him here because I just feel wrong placing him over Brett. But so we have up next is the fake Rick Bogner, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
Oh, my boy. My boy
Fun
Scott.
fun fact. Scott Hall once helped Justin Credible defeat IRS on like a 1993 episode of Monday Night Raw.
Wow.
This was before Justin Credible was like just incredible.
And this was like Razor.
This was Razor. Yeah, this was Razor Ramon. Anyway, Scott Hall. I mean we'll talk about him. Obviously, you have so much to say.
Yeah.
I'll just let you talk. Go ahead.
All right. So Scott Hall, the man. How do I want to summarize Scott Hall in this kind of discussion? He really was the first guy to come over. You know, it was between him and Kev, and Scott didn't really want to leave, but Vince wasn't going to pay him. So and that photo, it's from the moment. Everyone knows the moment. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
So
Just
great.
one of the premier talents to never win a world title, but you don't necessarily have to win a world title to have world-class impact.
Absolutely.
And that's what Scott Hall teaches you. His machismo, oozes machismo.
Charisma first. I mean, I feel like there's so many wrestlers who sort of take after the Scott Hall like format, which is, you know, sort of charisma first with wrestling like 1 inch behind, because he was an incredible wrestler as well.
Yeah, and at his peak, he was a great in-ring talent, and he could, you know, put on a good match and be acrobatic. See, Scott was, and the other thing about Scott too was he never was afraid to lose a match. He was never afraid to give a win to the other guy or push someone else.
Right.
And I think that kind of hurt his career.
Yeah. He was in the famed WrestleMania 10 ladder match
with Shawn Michaels.
With Shawn Michaels.
That you can get on VHS.
Speaking of, the next person on the list is Shawn Michaels from WWE's nWo.
Yep.
I have to say, out of all of the members of the nWo at the time, Shawn Michaels was sort of the most impactful, I feel, because Shawn Michaels joining the nWo in 2002 was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like
that was supposed to be seen as like something to reinvigorate the nWo.
Right. Like the nWo didn't do shit at all in WWE, but the one huge thing that happened was Shawn Michaels joining. So here's the question I have for you, James.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to piss off more, Shawn or Brett?
And it's got to be one of the two, because
Shawn won't block me, and I don't want to be blocked by any more wrestlers than I already am. So I'm going to put Shawn below Brett.
A good business choice.
Yes.
Now Brett can finally screw over Shawn.
Just
a bit.
Yes. Up next, person who I always forget was in the nWo, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
I'm thinking definitely Middler, pretty all right. He's a big enough name.
Yeah, he's a big name, one of the best mat wrestlers of all time, obviously. One of the best gimmicks of all time with the Mr. Perfect gimmick. And he was also in the nWo.
I'm reading up on some of this stuff. Let's see. He returned to competing under his real name, under Kurt Hennig, because WWE had trademarked
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
You know, he came back in 2003 to WWE.
Yes, I did. I did know that.
He wrestled in the 2000. He was in the final 4 of the 2003 Rumble. He almost won the match.
It's 2002.
2002.
The only reason I correct you is because it's a very important year.
Yes.
The fun thing about this is that he, Kurt Hennig, was in the Royal Rumble, made it pretty far in the match, and then 4 months later, the reason he was fired was the plane ride from hell.
Yep.
Because he tried to wrestle with Brock Lesnar in the aisle of the plane, and they almost whipped the emergency door open.
So what are we saying? Bottom of pretty all right?
Yeah, I would think that's good for him.
The worst of the two Hogans in the nWo, Hulk. I don't like the man, but it feels wrong not to.
Yeah.
He's one of the founding members. He was sort of one of the reasons the nWo became a huge deal.
He is probably the biggest reason the nWo became what it was.
I mean, he sort of kept the nWo sort of gimmick out of everyone else post nWo.
Yeah. It's more like if you just associated yourself with Hulk, you could be considered nWo.
Right. Anyway, the better of the two Hogans, Horace.
Yes. Horace.
No, absolutely not. Horace Hogan is a David Flair, Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff type deal. We're sticking him in the bottom. He's trash. Oh, am I ready to get angry today about the existence of a wrestler?
JEFF.
JARRETT. Could play a guitar, but never drew a dime.
I don't even know if he can play guitar. He just smashes them.
It's true. It's true. He did pretty much just smash guitars. Jeff Jarrett.
I don't know if he's ever played it. I would love to see him play one before he actually smashes it over.
Yeah. Jeff Jarrett, don't like him. He was one of the leaders of the nWo 2000. I'm pretty sure he was world champion while he was part of the nWo. He was still the biggest Jeff Jarrett mark there was.
He will always be the biggest Jeff Jarrett mark there ever is.
Do you have any thoughts about Jeff Jarrett? Because I just don't like him.
Yeah, I don't really have any comments other than
no.
I like that he kind of started TNA and gave all the former
WCW
guys a place to go work. But other than that, middle of the road.
I'm going to put him above on the sort of Rodman scale of the middle.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Conan. Ooh. I don't remember much about him in the nWo, but Conan's cool as shit.
Yeah, I don't know much about the nWo.
Yeah, the biggest thing I remember about Conan, it might just be recency bias because of New Blood Rising, but his thing with Ray and who was in that? It was Ray. Disco was there. Okay, I think the scale now for exact middle is Jarrett. So is he above or below Jarrett in the middle scale?
What do you think?
I think I'd put him above Jarrett.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily know who this guy is, but I do know he's the nWo race car driver, and I'm going to put him in the best for that reason.
I know his name. His name is Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty. He didn't win any races, right?
He was a bad driver.
Really.
He's the son of the most famous NASCAR driver ever, Richard Petty. So he's the son of royalty in NASCAR.
Yes.
But he never lived up to his dad's, potential.
The best thing he did in NASCAR was be the race car driver for the nWo.
Yeah, it's about it.
Yeah. Of course, he's not staying there. I mean, yeah. Don't put him above the Harrises. Fuck the Harrises. Miss Elizabeth.
Oh my god. That doesn't even look like her.
No, she looks like Sunny. She looks like Tammy Sin.
When I think of Miss Elizabeth, I think of 80s Randy Savage wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
This is Miss Elizabeth, who in real life at the time was in a relationship with Lex Luger.
Yes.
That was very not good for her.
Yep.
Very not good.
He might have, contributed to how she went out.
Yeah. She's one of the best managers of all time, obviously. Yep. nWo, I didn't even know that was Miss Elizabeth at first. So, I mean, like, come on. Like,
yeah.
I'll put her in pretty bad as a member of the nWo.
Yeah.
Above Boss Man.
I like that. That's a good rank.
Who is this jobber?
Just put him in the who is this tier?
Who the fuck is this? Lex Luger has had a lot of accomplishments in wrestling. And they don't mean shit. Because Lex Luger is bad at wrestling.
He's a bodybuilder. He's not a wrestler.
He wasn't good in WWE as the Lex Express. Wasn't good in WCW with this whole thing there. Wasn't a good person when he was in there. He's changed a lot. And he's gotten to be a lot better person now. Yep. Wasn't a good person back then. And as much of a sort of name he has for himself. I mean, really. Like, this might be one of the hottest takes I've said on this channel, but Lex Luger fucking sucks.
Below Disco.
he is below Disco. I mean, who would you rather have be in a WCW main event? Lex Luger or Disco Inferno?
That's tougher than it seems.
It really is, isn't it? You ready for an easy one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kevin Nash.
No questions.
No questions. No, incredible. Like,
and we have Kevin Nash's look-alike down below.
But Kevin Nash, him in wrestling has just been so interesting. Because he was really good in WWE as Diesel. But also, he's sort of infamous in WWE for sort of being the champion in their lowest point in 1995. And he had that awful match with Mabel at SummerSlam.
Mabel?
Yeah. It was a WWE title match, James. It was the main event. But Nash, he was so, like, this was peak Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
This is the Kevin Nash everyone should remember.
Kevin Nash is at his best when he's in the Outsiders, when he's in the nWo.
Yes.
Once he's allowed to be himself and not Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A close second for Kevin Nash was when he was working with the X Division in TNA. That was some good shit.
Really?
Yeah, go back and watch Kevin Nash mingling with the X Division. It's something.
Well, it's funny because he was the guy that was behind all the Vanilla Midget stuff, you know?
Exactly.
So
that's why it's so hilarious. It's so great.
Yeah. What's crazy to me is, like, could you have two better names for a wrestling duo than Hall and Nash? Like, Hall and Nash is just so intimidating, and it's
for real. Yeah, for real. It's better than Scott and Kevin, I'll tell you that.
It's Scott and Kevin.
Because that could always be like Scott Norton and Kevin Thorne.
Oh.
No, but you know who Hall and Nash are.
Oh, yeah.
I just said that's Scott Norton, right? Actually, isn't that Scott Norton?
This guy I'm looking, is it Scott Norton?
Oh, maybe. Was he in the nWo? He was, right?
Oh my God, he was.
He was. That is him. No, that is him because this is alphabetically. And nWo Sting is alphabetically before or alphabetically after Norton. So that's Scott Norton.
That's definitely Scott Norton.
So I think we need to take into consideration the fact that took us a bit.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't even. Just next. Do we just go to the next guy? Yeah. nWo Sting. He was in nWo Japan.
Okay.
He was played by a wrestler named Jeff Farmer. Which those of you who like to peruse wrestling YouTube might know as someone who's delivered one of the worst promos of all time as jumping Jeff Farmer. we mentioned Rick Bogner, who played the fake Razor Ramon in WWE. Fakers aren't really that good, are they?
No.
Is he better than Buff?
Yeah.
All right.
Most people are gonna be better than Buff.
I don't know who this guy is. Do you?
No.
All right.
Next.
Ric Flair.
Like in the NWO. I
Was
love
it-
the photo too.
That was in WWE, right? That's a WWE
Yeah,
background.
that's a WWE photo.
So this is hard
Did-
because we've also been sort of taking into account the other parts of things, and like which one's like the one that's a fact? Is it subjectively or objectively?
Subjective.
Subjectively, Ric Flair's the best wrestler of all time.
Okay.
Like that's just a fact most people accept at this point.
Oh, sorry. Objectively is fact. My bad.
Okay, because subjectively I disagree. Objectively, Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah. I would say either him or Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem, of course, is that this was WWE nWo. So here we acknowledge his status, but he was shit in the nWo.
Yeah. I mean, putting him above Brett, I don't know.
We'll group him with his other nWo WWE mate with Sean right here. That works.
That's
I
a
can
good
do it.
spot.
Yeah. The Ravishing One.
Yes.
Rick Rude. I don't know if it was necessarily as part of the nWo, but what I do remember is that Rick Rude became one of the first people to appear on Nitro. I think it was the only person to appear on Nitro and Raw on the same night, because
Mhm.
Raw was on a tape delay. His contract had expired, and then he appeared live. I'm pretty sure shaven on Nitro.
Yes. That is hysterical.
Yeah. And as that moment alone puts him higher than some of these people, but I'm pretty sure he also didn't do much. He's pretty all right, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put him above Chono, I think.
Yeah.
All right. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. What did he do in WCW?
Did he do?
He
was just kind of there.
He won the title at least once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
He was there. He was the Macho Man. Certainly dying down there in mobility and wrestling ability.
Like what he returned in January of '97, Savage did. Hijacking the show, claiming to have been blackballed and refusing to leave the ring until Sting showed up, and then the two left together.
I love WCW. It's just bad.
And then Sting and Randy Savage over the next couple Nitro shows just kind of walk around and watch events from the crowd as free agents.
So I feel the conundrum now.
Yeah.
With placing Randy Savage, the Ric Flair, the Bret Hart, the Shawn Michaels conundrum.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd put him below all three of those guys.
I'm honestly thinking about putting him just above Rude.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Giant deserves to be higher than Randy Savage.
Yeah. Now, we move on to perhaps the greatest member of the WCW roster in history, Scott Steiner. This is probably nWo 2000,
Daddy.
which means 2000 was like the year of Scott Steiner in WCW. That was when he won the title a bunch. That's when he really came into his own as the big bad sugar daddy, the big bad booty daddy. Big Papa Pump, fat ass Samoa Joe, genetic freak. He's not normal. Scott Steiner's can we put him in the best? Like, honestly?
Yes.
Thank God.
I was just going to say he needs to be in the best, too.
Thank God. Scott Steiner is just one of the best. Like that.
Scott Steiner. Oh, my freaks.
It's just so it's so good. He like only recently stopped wrestling too.
Yeah, and he should have stopped earlier.
He
But
should have
yeah,
stopped earlier
well,
because
his
it got
guy-
bad. He had a heart attack back just by being backstage at an Impact show.
Yeah, and the thing about him is he owns like a bunch of fast food restaurants. Like he's one of those fast food franchise guys.
He owned.
Oh,
He had to close a lot down because of COVID.
I didn't know.
But I'm
that.
pretty sure he's opening a bar soon, so that's good.
Okay.
I think everything should be Scott Steiner based all the time forever.
Yes.
All right. We're almost done with the really big hitters, so I'm gonna move to Sting now.
Good. I like it.
Sting is incredible. This was Sting's home, where Sting was the best. If you can't tell by the face paint, this was nWo Wolfpack Sting.
Yes.
Which is much different from nWo Sting, which again was a completely different person.
In a completely different country.
Right. I think the problem with Sting in WCW is that he kind of had no place being in the nWo.
Yep.
Like
Well,
Sting wasn't Sting's whole thing like anti nWo?
He's like the lead anti like nWo
And that's
the WCW side.
And that's why I have such a problem with him being a part of it. It's because, like, what the fuck? Honestly.
All this time fighting these guys just to join them.
But he's Sting. Like,
Yeah.
it's the conundrum.
But because he's Sting, like, he's definitely pretty all right. 100%. That's the starting level.
Where would you put him in pretty all right?
In pretty all right? Probably right around Randy Savage. Either before or after Savage.
Would you put him before or after Savage? So definitely below the Giant?
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of nWo ranking, if we're ranking them in the nWo.
I'll put him higher than Savage because him being in the nWo was still pretty like impactful.
Yeah.
This guy, ref.
Who?
He was the ref.
The nWo ref.
The nWo referee. The crooked ref. Anyways, the Booker T's tag team partner, who was not in the nWo at the same time as Booker T, Stevie Ray. Harlem Heat was good.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I can say about Stevie Ray as a wrestler.
It's the best thing I can say about Stevie Ray in the nWo.
Yeah, Harlem Heat was good. That's about it. He's a Hall of Famer. He's
better than Lex Luger.
He's better than Luger.
Is he better than
He's the top of freaking awful. We'll say that. Because Harlem Heat was good. 6.
Yes. 6 Pac.
6. I'm pretty sure with 3 X's.
Yes. That is right. See, he's another one of the guys that's probably right around that Savage tier.
He is the definition of someone who was there for almost everything he's done.
Yes.
I think the thing that he was the most not just there for was the X Factor, which got him like go home heat because nobody liked X-Pac. X Factor was pretty okay. I mean, I liked all 3 of the guys in the group. Like, I like X-Pac as a wrestler. He's just there, you know?
And I mean, his longevity, I mean, even
which
when
is
the guy was like in TNA.
I feel bad. This guy's definitely a Japanese legend. Can't for the life of me remember who that is. I'm sure Brett will eat me in the comments down below about me not knowing who this is. Brett's like the biggest Japanese wrestling fan that I know, I think. Tori Wilson. Yeah. Tori Wilson.
A thing. Just above those 2 skinheads.
No one, you cannot get lower in life than the Harris twins. In life. Virgil. Virgil
Yeah.
will take a picture with you and then charge you $5 because he went, "Oh my god, I remember you." Oh
Or-
god, he was Vincent at this time actually,
That is right.
because he was named Virgil in WWE as a shoot to Dusty Rhodes. So when he went to WCW, they went, "Hey, let's return the favor," and named him Vincent. Yeah, he was hot for like a minute after he broke from DiBiase in WWE, but he did not do anything after that.
This is great. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. This is a great sentence. Rarely wrestling, he often valeted nWo members such as Scott Steiner, Scott Norton, Conan, and Brian Adams, also known as
Ooh.
Crush.
That went like
That was
up
Steiner and
then. But I don't think he was freaking awful.
I mean, he did stuff in WWF with DiBiase, and I will say, it says he was in the nWo for 3 years.
Yeah.
And from 96 to 99, that alone, just longevity, probably gets him in at least pretty bad.
I mean, think about it like this. It took us a while to remember Scott Norton.
Yeah.
Almost every wrestling fan knows who Virgil is.
Yeah.
So I think that saves him from being in the worst tier, but he can be at the bottom of pretty bad.
I agree.
So, not Ted DiBiase, VK Wall Street. And you know his relative Barry Windham's right next to him.
Ooh, that's right.
VK Wall Street existed. Legally, he was part of the nWo. He certainly was there. He lost to Just Incredible on an episode of Monday Night Raw. He's not freaking off.
Let's see what he did in the nWo.
I just don't feel about VK Wall Street. I don't have a single opinion about this guy. I don't have an opinion on if he was good. I don't have an opinion on if he was bad. He was there. Certainly was. He was a guy. We'll put him with Teddy there.
See, he joined the nWo after being offered a membership from Ted DiBiase.
Not surprising.
While in the nWo, he remained in the low mid card. His highest profile match in this period was a loss to Jeff Jarrett at nWo Sold Out. His highest profile match
Was a loss to Jarrett?
was jobbing to Jeff Jarrett.
Jesus
low mid-card.
Christ.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. That's not even Monty Brown's highest accomplishment.
his highest accomplishment from this time period.
Oh God.
Oh,
Is he in the middle?
no.
No. Is he here? Is he like above Crush?
Low key. He might even be worse than Big Boss Man if his biggest accomplishment is losing to Jeff Jarrett.
That's a lot of people's biggest accomplishments because there's no coming back from losing to Jeff Jarrett. Barry Windham didn't even know he was in the nWo.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out this.
He
Barry
pretty
Windham now looks pretty weird.
pretty sure Barry Windham was famous for being Rotunda's tag team partner. He did some good stuff, I'm pretty sure, in the earlier days.
Yes,
But I haven't seen it.
WWF, he was a 2-time tag team champion with Mike Rotunda, and also he was a 4 Horseman.
Oh, he was. That's right.
Was a member of that for, a little while.
So is he in the middle?
Let's see what he did in nWo. That'll really tell.
Yeah, again, didn't even know he was in the group.
Yeah.
Even after doing this once already, it completely left my mind that he was in the group.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix
So
this now, by the way.
he was brought back to WCW in 1998 to turn on Ric Flair, and then was associated with nWo Hollywood for a little while. So I don't even really know if he was part of nWo.
Forgot nWo Hollywood was a thing.
Yeah. And then he just kind of teamed with Kurt Hennig.
Is he just like in the middle? He was there. It wasn't bad.
I would say, yeah, like not being in the nWo is better than being in it and being bad. So yeah, that's probably a good place to put him. Right near Ted.
Yeah. The great Muda. The great, wonderful Muda.
Let's see.
I know that he was in the Dark Carnival with Vampiro and no longer the Kiss Demon, just the Demon. He's at least a former tag team champion, winning the titles at New Blood Rising 2000.
Yeah, so I'm reading about nWo Japan. So this Great Muda. The latter half of 96 had him pitted against Masahiro Chono's Ukami Gundam, which eventually blossomed into a war with the Chono-led nWo Japan.
Interesting.
So he was kind of like the leader of the opposition to the nWo for a while.
So he's Japan's Sting.
Yes, essentially, is what it looks like. And at Wrestling World in 1999, Muto defeated one of Chono's right-hand men, Scott Norton, to win his third IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I forgot that Scott Norton was literally an IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Actually, it was just a world champion. Sorry. They're different lineages. The IWGP World Championship was the one that was around for like years. And the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is the one that just took its place like 2 months ago. Where are we putting the last member of this list?
Well, if he was regarded as nWo Japan's Sting, probably either low, middle, pretty bad.
Yeah. Better. I'd say better. I'd say he is above Rodman.
Yeah.
He's
a solid spot.
Yes, he's above in the Rodman scale. So this is our nWo tier list.
Yeah.
I tweaked a couple things so that Scott Hall was definitely at the best because he was. Yeah. I'm gonna fix one more thing really quickly if you don't mind. There we go. Perfect tier for the Harris brothers. So to go over it again, in the absolute best tier, we have Scott Hall, Eric Bischoff, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Scott Steiner. Just the pantheon of the best. Pretty all right. Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, The Giant, Sting, Randy Savage, Six, Rick Rude, Masahiro Chono, and Mr. Perfect. Middle, Bare Bones, Dusty, Booker, Conan, Jarrett, Muda, Dennis Rodman, Ted DiBiase, and Barry Windham. Pretty bad is Crush, not Tammy, Miss Elizabeth, Big Bubba Rogers, VK Wall Street Disco, Scott Norton, Jumpin' Jeff Farmer, and Vincent. Freaking awful. Originally was the worst tier. We had Stevie Ray, Buff Bagwell, Lex Luger, David Flair, Horace Hogan, fucking Beefcake, the Car Driver, and I'm gonna put David Flair at the bottom of freaking awful. And Tori Wilson. And then in the even fucking worse than that, those Nazi pieces of shit tier are the Harris brothers. And there's those guys at the bottom. This one that's probably a Japanese legend and these other fucking nerds. So thank you everyone for watching the PWO presents the Devoid Wrestling podcast. This video was long as shit, so we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.